historic rivalry in USL Championship history is here to write its chapter for 2024. No two sides have faced off more than the Charleston Battery and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. The 42nd all-time meeting is here tonight at Patriots Point Soccer Complex in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, presented by MUSC Health. Jack Edwards and Chris Nurse here with you in the broadcast booth. We can start off with our standings in the East. In second place, Charleston, 1 point off Louisville at the top of the table. For Pittsburgh, further down in 10th, but there's 1 point off that playoff line in 8th place. A slower start to 2024 for Pittsburgh in comparison to the red-hot start for Charleston, whose attack is second in the league in goals scored and led by one man in particular, in Nick Marcanic. Will make no surprises here as our player to watch, Chris, an electric goal scorer for the Battery.
Yeah, every team needs a Marcanic. His ability to score goals, ability to create, ability to pose threat to defensive lines is at this moment unchallenged in the league. And this has been the sticking point, unfortunately, for Pittsburgh. If they don't have a player who's in the form of Marcanic this season. Despite creating chances, they've not had somebody who can convert them. So that's kind of been their Achilles heel, and that's going to be what's going to be they need to look out for in tonight's game.
And let's underscore that for you right here. Marcanic with 12 goals so far this season. On the flip side, last time out really underscored the attacking issues for Pittsburgh. They had 24 shots to the 6 for Indy 11 at home, 3.2 expected goals. We'll see the misses here. They scored just one time and they lost 2-1.
Yeah, as we just spoke about, their ability to convert chances is really the problem. It's not creating the chances, they're creating chances in abundance. It's having that player in the final third with a killer instinct to put them into the back of the net. And I think as much as they create chances, they're going to continue to get frustrated until they find that player who builds that chemistry and that confidence and is able to convert. Right now, they're struggling in that department massively.
They're waiting for their first win since May the 4th, that one against Miami FC. Part of 3 consecutive wins, but just 3 wins on the year so far for Pittsburgh. In the midfield, though, Danny Griffin scored that lone goal against Indy 11. A good goal from the top of the box. Bob Billy talking about goals and assists going to be added to the defensive midfielders' game moving forward.
Yeah, and I imagine Danny Griffin is pretty frustrated. He encapsulates everything that Pittsburgh are about. His work rate, his tenacity. In the last game, he takes it upon himself as a midfielder to get into the finals, in the final third and convert chances, but he just needs a lot more support. He needs that player in the attacking third who he can feed, who's going to convert the chances from. He can't do it all himself. Some
small tweaks for both teams from their last lineups. Both of them been a little while since they last picked up 3 points. A historic meeting as they fight for the Old Guard Shield, the first regular season meeting of the season so far. On the other side of this break, we've got lineups and kickoff between the Battery and the Riverhounds.
Charleston is located in the low country of South Carolina.
The history here, it runs deep, and you can't imagine being anyplace else.
This place is magical.
Is for the way you look. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give.
He found the sweet spot! You gotta be kidding me! In by Malloy, it's headed down. Conway!
The players are taking the field at Patriots Point Soccer Complex. We're moments away from kickoff between the Battery and the Riverhounds. Charleston taking on Pittsburgh in this USL Championship matchup. Delighted to be here with you, Jack Edwards, alongside Chris Nurse. We can look first off at the lineup for the hosts in Charleston. Just the one tweak. Been 10 days since their last match. Chris Allen returns from red card suspension, comes into the lineup for Arturo Rodriguez. The lone change there. Lineup brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to line up in their standard 4-2-3-1 formation. Myers up top, having the formation as it is, gives them a lot of density in the center of the park. Obviously, they're a little bit vulnerable in the wide areas, but they're able to protect the goal and obviously create numerous goal-scoring chances. One of the top goal-scoring teams in the league this season.
Just the one change for Charleston, similar for Pittsburgh. Not a ton of turnover from their last match. It was that 2-1 defeat at home against Indy 11 last weekend. Those two tweaks. Danny Rivera out for Junior Etsu, Conrado Forbes on the bench for Jackson Waltzy in their 3-5-2 shape.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's formation encapsulated everything they're about. We spoke about their chance created, but not chance conversion. But they're also a team that doesn't concede a lot of chances. It looks like a 3-5-2 formation, but when they're out of possession, the ball, it drops into a 5-3-2. So they have a lot of density, a lot of numbers behind the ball, which allows them not to concede many goal-scoring opportunities to their opponents.
We'll see how that midfield looks for both teams with some small tweaks out there, but both those lineups brought to you by Michelob Ultra. The players have taken the field, and this is the final preparations before this one. Talking to Ben Pierman ahead of this match, mentioned that he expects it to be a close affair, not necessarily entirely end-to-end, but the fine margins could be very important in our match here today.
Yeah, you're looking at two teams that have created the most opportunities in the league. If you look at the chances that Pittsburgh were able to create last week, completely dominated Indy in chances created, just unable to convert. And if you look at Charleston, you know, they convert a number of chances, one of the most top goal-scoring teams between both conferences, the Western and the East. But both coaches admit that they would like to be more efficient in front of goal. Despite the amount of chances that Charleston have actually been able to convert this season, he still wants more efficiency in front of goal. But for Bob Billilly, the frustration his team's having, they're keeping possession of the ball, they're creating chances, but they're losing games because they can't convert their chances. They have to be more efficient, more killer instinct, more ruthless in front of goal.
In the yellow kits are the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. You see Bob Lilly helming the team in his 7th season. Now the reigning USL Championship Coach of the Year, became just the 2nd man to earn that honor on 2 occasions. In the gray kits are the hosts, the Charleston Battery. They'll be heading from right to left across your screen, and from left to right will be the Riverhounds, who will start with possession in the center circle. Thomas Snyder is our head official for the match in this one. These sides split the meetings in 2023. They've met 42 times now as this one's about to be kicked off, stretching all the way back to 1999. We have our first whistle and kickoff is underway. Charleston beginning our possession, moving this one up the field.
And just speaking about the mentality of Coach Ben Pierman, he spoke about his team creating chances, but he wants them to be more efficient in front of goal. They've scored 27 goals so far this season, which puts them 2nd between both conferences in goals scored, in comparison to Pittsburgh, who only scored 11 goals this season. So right now they're sitting at 2nd between both conferences in terms of goals scored, and he still demands more efficiency in front of goals. So it speaks about the standards that he holds his players accountable to on a consistent basis.
Pierman, the head coach of the year in 2022 with Memphis, made the move over to Charleston, led the side all the way to the title match, of course finishing as runners-up. You have the reigning Players' Shield winners, reigning Eastern Conference winners. It's a great 2023. It's been a great 24 so far for the Battery. Riverhounds still looking for their kickstart to life as they move this one up the near side. Played centrally.
And as we look at what to expect in today's game, well, you're looking at two teams that don't struggle to create chances whatsoever. So we expect to see a lot of attacking football, a lot of excitement, a lot of goal-mouth action. However, you're also looking at two of the best defenses. Pittsburgh only conceding,
I believe it's 9 goals in the season so far. It's an incredible defensive effort, as there's a free kick given right here.
Charleston only conceded 9. Pittsburgh have conceded 14. So two of the stingiest defenses in the league. So whilst both teams are very well known for the chance creation, you're also looking at two teams that are very strong defensively. So it's hard to anticipate whether we're going to see a goal fest tonight or whether we're going to see a defensive masterclass.
Free kick to come here. Robbie Mertz standing over this one. Early opportunity for some set-piece wizardry from the Riverhounds. Robbie Mertz, 1 assist so far this season. He's got 5 inside the box on this early set-piece opportunity. Just 1 in the wall for Charleston. Mertz goes low, dealt with, pushed away. We look at our injury report now, brought to you by MUSC Health. No reported for either side. Luke Biasi is on the bench for the Riverhounds. Bob Lilly going to see how much he's going to be able to run out in this one, but he is an option making the trip. Injuries clearing up for both sides. A full complement of players available. Although not listed, Arturo Rodriguez dropped from the starting lineup, not on the bench either, so not a ton of clarity on that situation there, but still a very strong midfield unit for this Charleston side as they clear that one forward and pick up the loose ball. Kaza plays it forward.
I think one thing you always find in the summer months, which we're in or approaching now, is the game always changes a little bit. It slows down a little bit just because the heat has an impact on the players' abilities to compete at high intensity for long durations of time. So given that the landscape of the US, you're going from high altitude to low altitude, cold temperatures to warm temperatures, everything kind of heats up a little bit. But there's just something about when teams come to Charleston have that home advantage. The humidity hits you, the atmosphere hits you. There's just something about being at home in Charleston that makes it a little bit more difficult for the away team.
Turnover here on the attacking third now. An opportunity for Keziah Sterling driving forward with this one. Run off the shoulder. It's Mertz who picks it up. Cross blocked, put out now. Throw in to come here. Mentioned that heat, high 70s. We see taking your chances, just to underscore those numbers. 27 goals scored for Charleston, just 11 for Pittsburgh, and that's despite an expected goals number just under 18. That's good for 6th best in the league, but the fewest goals scored in 11. They just lack that killer instinct in the final third.
Yeah, and just to take that a little bit further, if you look at Kizza, Sterling, Griffin, each of these three players for Pittsburgh sit on 3 goals. Markanich alone sits on 12.
From distance, that one just over. Talk about expected goals, a low XG effort there, but that one almost rippling the back of the net.
Yeah, so just a great chance there. Obviously, we were just caught up in the conversation, but Markanich has scored 4 times more than any individual player for Pittsburgh, and that's what we speak about. Top teams, you need that striker in hot form who just knows how to be in the right place at the right time, has the ability to convert chances. So important if you're going to be a championship team. You can create all the chances you want, patterns of play, possession, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you don't win games. So having that player, this is why goal scorers are so valued. They're priceless. That's why they often get paid the most money, because it's a skill that's a lot harder, and people often don't give it the credit that it deserves.
Markanich running into this one in the channel. He'll get there, but 2 in yellow will quickly swarm him. That threat that we've mentioned multiple times in the broadcast already. Pittsburgh, of course, not unknown to have those lethal goal scorers. Albert Dikwa, Golden Boot winner last year with 20 goals. But you lose him, he heads over to Rhode Island, and that replacement not quite been found just yet. We'll see if that materializes in the side for Pittsburgh as the season continues to wane on into the summer.
Yeah, and there's just something that hasn't clicked offensively for Pittsburgh holistically this season, even if you're looking at chances created or assists. You're looking at Conrado Forbes, who was last season one of the top assist leaders in the league. This season is yet to register an assist between him and Mertz. I think they maybe have 1 assist between the 2 of them. So whether they're not creating the same chances that they were in previous years, or they just don't have the players to finish offensively, things just haven't clicked for Pittsburgh so far this season. But there's still a lot of time left to play. We're 1/3 through the season. We spoke to Bob Lilly. You know, is he being patient with the options that he has, or is he about to enter the transfer market and look for that player who can essentially give them the goals and the confidence they need going forward? And he was very confident that he's going to be patient with the group that he has. He's not a coach who goes into the transfer market knee-jerk in situations like that. He gives his players the opportunity to work it out over the course of the season. He believes that he does have that guy within his ranks. So it'll be interesting to see it as things progress. But right now, they find themselves in foreign territory, because it's very rare that you often see a Bob Lilly team that's not across the playoff line. And right now, they're competing with the teams that are very much bottom of the table and not in the playoff hunt right now. And I think unless they find that guy who's going to provide those chances for them, they're going to struggle to make the playoffs this year.
You know, it may have been a foul throw taken there, so although it turned over to Charleston, it's going to be taken again. Referee making that point. An odd situation there.
And what also happens if you don't convert those chances, your team eventually start to lose confidence. Like they'll play well, but it's going to be a case of here we go again scenario, and the team will lose confidence. The fans will begin to lose a little bit of belief. You know, they can only play well so many times without winning games. At the end of the day, you have to find a way to win games, and I loved it when Bob Lilly this week said winning teams find a way to get the job done. His team haven't found a way to get the job done so far this season, coming off two losses They were priorly on a 7-match unbeaten streak, and now they're winless in their past 4. Despite playing well, that's not a team on tremendously good form. So at some point, they have to turn these okay performances, these good performances, they have to find a way to turn them into wins, or it will mean nothing.
It was a good conversation with Bob Lilly we had ahead of this one, just talking about the performances. We mentioned that one against Indy 11, probably the better side on the day, but that's not how points work. It's not performance-based, as it's Charleston the attack here, trying to latch onto the end of that one, but the touch just slightly too heavy. Going out of play, Malloy trying to keep that one in play, but it goes out for the goal kick now for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and you can look at Champions League games we've seen this season with Real Madrid, where they don't have possession of the ball, but they find a way to win the game and then go on to win the trophy altogether. You know, at the end of the day, you have to find a way to win the game, irrespective of how you possess the ball or the chances you create. Good teams find a way to win games, and that's what I valued about Indy 11 last week. They didn't play well. They were definitely not the best team on the field. However, even on their worst day, they still found a way to win the game, and that's a common trait of teams that have the potential to challenge for a championship, is that even on their worst days, they still find a way to walk off the field with 3 points.
Malloy slides it across. Torres. Back to Torres, sliding this one into the midfield. On the turn, trying to push it forward. Now Allen.
On top of that win for Indy last week, it was in Pittsburgh,
yeah,
which is even harder when you go away. Pittsburgh has been a fortress to get points, and they were able to do that away from home. That is really hard, because normally if you win your home games, you get ties in your away games, you're normally on track to make the playoffs or to be a championship competing team. But when you start to pick up points on your away games on your bad days, and that's when you become really dangerous. And obviously Indy 11, maybe 10 game unbeaten streak right now. Pretty incredible form.
It's only due to just the remarkable starts to the year for both Charleston and Louisville that maybe Indy 11 slightly flying under the radar, ever so slightly. It's a throw in here for the Riverhounds. Blackstock to take. Sterling trying to turn that one. It's a clean challenge in the midfield. One back, both players sliding in for it. Torres comes away, and just a clever drag back to Dos Santos. Charleston can move it around. We're about 10 minutes into the match. Possession heavily in favor of the Battery through our opening moments. Over the top, dropped in. Tall header. Slid out wide, left-hand side. It's a good threaded ball into the box. Potential for Sterling to check it up, slides it across. An important intervention on the block. He'll leave it. The shot from distance. What a parry. Getting across. Daniel Kuzemka call into action for the first time. A great parry by the goalkeeper.
It's a beautiful strike here. First one's blocked, but the rebound comes out, edge of the box. Hits it so clean, but the keeper's equal to it. Great save there from Kuzemka to keep his team tied 0-0, but again, knocking at the door, unable to convert.
To be Danny Griffin who ripped that one from distance. It was well saved. We've got a corner kick now to come here. Kuzemka keeps his spot between the sticks. Adam Grinwis back available on the bench. Missed the last few games due to injury. It's a corner now for the Riverhounds. Curled in. Dangerous. The header goes high. It's going to end up bouncing again. We'll do another corner from that far side. Not quite able to get a header towards goal.
It's a similar start for Pittsburgh in comparison to last week. Early, they had chances, close, hit the crossbar, hit the post, came out. We had a shot earlier, skimmed across the top of the crossbar. We had this shot now from Griffin. Great save from Kuzemka. 2 chances in the early phase of the game. If they were to convert, would give them a lot of confidence, allow them to settle down and now dictate and control the tempo of play. But again, just lacking that. Sometimes it comes into belief. When you go through so many opportunities and the outcomes become the same, the players lack a little bit of belief. They just need that one goal maybe to change the momentum for them.
Corner for Robbie Mertz to come after a brief pause before it will be taken. Whipped into the 6-yard box, headed away. Blackstock puts a foot to it. Mertz again. Gets it onto the right foot, curls one into the box. Kuzemka rises highest and claims that one.
One interesting fact that hopefully statistics don't always hopefully they don't always turn out to be true, but should Pittsburgh concede the first goal tonight, on each of their 5 losses that they've had this season, they've conceded the first goal. So them losing the game is this season so far has always been correlated with conceding the first goal. So should Charleston get the go-ahead goal, there's a high percentage that Pittsburgh will end up being the losing team. But stats is just one part of the story. The game still has to be played on the field.
It's part of the joy. If it was a guarantee, you could just pack it up when that first goal goes in the back of the net. Fortunately, it goes otherwise at times. It's Charleston now developing from the back. Goes out of play. Both teams want the throw, but it'll be Charleston's throw. Well, Battery matches at the perfect place to make lifelong memories with your friends and family. Your group of 10 or more can enjoy discounted tickets, exclusive on-field experiences, and private hospitality areas to catch the match. Visit charlestonbattery.com to learn more and plan a memorable night at Patriots Point. Big challenge put in. It is going to be a free kick going against Pittsburgh. Heavy challenge by Ilal Usumanu. Referee just wanting a bit of a calmer challenge next time round. It's a free kick for the Battery.
Yeah, just doesn't really get much on the ball. A lot of body, not much of the ball. Despite the disparity in league positioning for these two teams, Charleston obviously sitting in second, Pittsburgh all the way down in 10th. Neither of these teams coming into tonight's game with great form.
Here's Allen. Curls went in. It's headed away. And dealt with a clever header to bring it down to Blackstock.
Pittsburgh coming into tonight's game winless in their last 4, while Charleston coming into tonight's game winless in their last 3. So neither of these two teams are in a rich streak of form right now, despite Charleston sitting in second, being the second highest goal scorers, Pittsburgh sitting in 10th. We know that this phase of the season, the third through, you go on a run of 3 games, you're quickly across that playoff line again for Pittsburgh. So it's a little too early in the season to tell a tale of where the season's going to end up. But we're looking at 2 balanced teams. Chances created, goals conceded, streak of form.
Dos Santos, he brings it in, but he was offsides. It's going to be a free kick now for Pittsburgh. Bob really mentioned to us that it is early in the season in times, 1/3 of the way through, but he said in 5 matches for them, it will be halfway through the season. So you're still developing as a team, of course, but the season really is kicking on. And it's almost middle of June.
And that 5 matches will be gone before they know it. Then they're over the halfway mark, then they're over the hump, and everything's starting to come down as you head towards the postseason. Of course, you want to go into the postseason on a rich streak of form. You want to have good confidence, players playing well, winning games, momentum, chemistry, fans getting excited to be in the stadium. The only way you do that is by winning games.
Big collision of heads there. It's going to be a free kick going against Dos Santos. Leaves Robbie Mertz in a heap. He's a little slow to get up, and he will need some treatment. It's a tough collision of heads there as they challenge for that one on the near side. Bob Billy with having a quick word. Pat Hogan. Pat Hogan, of course, used to ply his trade for Charleston back 2021 to 22. Made 37 appearances for the Battery. Now on the Pittsburgh end of things, Dos Santos involved in that head collision. Going the other way round. He appeared for Pittsburgh in 2022 and 2023 before joining in the offseason for the Battery. Ben Pierman mentioning that the left-footed nature of Dos Santos, able to play in that left-back role that he's playing right now, either as a left center back, in a back 3, a back 5. His versatility, key for a squad they want to keep quite small in terms of player numbers.
Yeah, and I think something also to talk about between these 2 coaches, Bob Lilly and Ben Pierman, is that they both tout their teams as being the hardest working teams in the league. It's definitely something that Charleston pride themselves on, but if you said to Bob Lilly that Charleston are the hardest working team in the league, he might take offense to that because he prides his team on having an industrious work ethic and never say die mentality. It's funny, I was listening to a Charleston game and the commentator was talking about they play every game like it's their last, and I think that is that's the way players should approach every game. You have to go in with the mentality of playing every game that's your last, because you never know. You don't play well, you're sitting on the bench, somebody comes in and takes your spot. Or you're playing in the game, you get an injury, and it's part of the game. It happens. It could be your loss. So in order to be successful and have the right mentality to win and be a champion, I think it's inevitable that you have to play every game like it's your last. And when coaches are able to get 11, 13, 14, 15 players to buy into that mentality, these are the teams that are often able to overcome adversity, to win games in the dying phases of the game, and often to go and compete for championships. I think it's a intangible mentality that players need to have.
Danny Griffin over this one. Robbie Mertz getting some treatment off the field right now, so temporarily Pittsburgh down to 10 men. As Griffin readies this one, curls it forward. The header goes just wide. We talked about Danny Griffin in the open, and it's something that Bob Lilly mentioned, that Danny Griffin doesn't take these set pieces, and maybe if he did, those assist numbers, those goal numbers might begin to climb up, because he feels that he's in the top 3 to 5 defensive midfielders in this league, doing the dirty work, and he's beginning with the 3 goals this season so far to add a little bit more in terms of the production in front of goal. Yeah,
and I think that's becoming the problem, is that your defensive midfielder, Danny Griffin, is having to become your chance creator, your goal scorer. Essentially, you don't want your defensive midfielder to be that guy. It's great if you have a goal scoring midfielder. They're priceless.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of midfielders that you know who are getting 12, 15 goals a season. It's really not something that's common, and if you find one of those, it's like gold dust. But when he's the guy who's having to create, to score, as well as do all the dirty work, this is the struggle for them so far this season, I think.
It's Graham Smith moving it forward to Dos Santos. See on the left side of your screen, Robbie Mertz is back up on his feet, and he's back out on the field. So it's 11 v 11 again after the collision of heads between Mertz and Dos Santos.
Quick mention of Charleston losing Jake LaCava to San Antonio earlier this week. Getting to that phase of the season where you start to see a little bit of trading off between teams. As we spoke about, maybe Bob Lilly is looking for a striker who has the potential to come in and convert some of these chances they're creating. He says he's not. Maybe he's saying that, but I don't see how he isn't personally. Of course, with the success that he's had as a head coach, I don't believe his job is ever in question. But no. I think that it's inevitable. You can only be patient for so long and believe. And sometimes it just doesn't click. Sometimes you do need fresh energy, fresh blood in the team to have those opportunities. And we spoke a little bit about set pieces. Canado Forbes has been normally the go-to guy who takes those set pieces. I remember there was a game last year, we called 3 corners, 3 goals, all delivered by Canado Forbes with the quality that he puts into the box, and he hasn't been able to hit that same streak of form this season. As we spoke about, maybe it's not his deliveries, maybe it's the players that he has on the end of those deliveries that's been the problem. But yeah, I think Bob Lilly has to troubleshoot that issue fairly quickly.
Canado Forbes is on the bench, something that Bob Lilly mentioned to us. It's not a performance or fitness issue, just a tactical tweak. He wants to bring him on as a weapon from the bench second half, so something to watch out for as the match continues to progress, where to deploy Canado Forbes in this Pittsburgh lineup. And
I think it's also smart management. You can be the hardest working team, but you also have to manage your team smartly. I don't doubt Canado Forbes' ability on the pitch or his tenacity, his work rate, his quality. But at 36, it's inevitable you're not going to be able to play every minute of every game. And it's up to your coach to manage you the best, to use you in the most vital games, to use you in the games where you're going to succeed the best, and then to rest you. I imagine Canado Forbes doesn't want to be rested whatsoever. He wants to be out there playing every minute. And rightfully so. When he's out there, he competes with the best of them. He doesn't look his age whatsoever. But his manager does have the task of getting the balance right between having him out there competing and keeping him fresh for the whole season, because the best ability is availability, and if he's not available, then it's not going to be as effective as they would like. So
Allen gets a foot in. He felt that he was fouled. Referee looks the other way. Second ball, Charleston comes back, wins it. Malloy moving it out to Dos Santos. Zagbers was making the run forward for Ikaza. Slide this one across. Smith. Torres.
It's always really interesting when you watch these tactical affairs and you see teams trying to fill each other out and change their tactics based upon the opponent. You can see in the build-up here from Charleston with the 3 at the back, and then they push the wing-backs very high, so it's almost like a line of 4 up against Pittsburgh's defense. And there's so much space, so much players in the attacking third, just holding 3 players back. And then when they lose possession, all of a sudden there's five players back, and they completely flip formations. Sometimes you wonder whether it's best to focus on what you do as a team, or to focus where the spaces are in the opponent's line. It can be a little bit of a balance of both.
throw in for Pittsburgh. Well, the USL on ESPN2 kicks off the summer with the League One showdown as Forward Madison takes on South Georgia Tormenta on Saturday, June 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Important clearance, pushing that one away. Keziah Sterling, former South Georgia Tormenta forward, Finals MVP back in 2022 when they claimed the League One title. Leading the line for the Riverhounds in our matchup here today. Smith.
It's been a very cagey opening 25 minutes to the game. You wouldn't say it's been an exhibition of fluent attacking, stylish soccer.
No.
It's been both teams essentially cancelling each other out. If you're looking at chances created, you'd probably say Pittsburgh have had the better chances created. The shot from distance and the strike from Danny Griffin that Kuzemka pushed away.
Dangerous chance there, almost progressing right as we were talking about the lack of chances, Chris. The match beginning to open up a little bit here. Now on the break, Pittsburgh, but potentially going to have to slow down. The option's not quite there. There were those shots from distance that had some decent looks. The shot by Griffin saved by Kuzemka.
And it's interesting because the only chances created right now have been 2 shots from distance. Both defenses putting on a good display so far. But I do think there's an opportunity for Pittsburgh on the counter-attack. It looked in a couple of moments here when Charleston, when they transition to defense, it's a little bit slow in the numbers. They get maybe 6 players behind the ball. There's not a great effort from all 10. If Pittsburgh are able to take advantage, especially in the wide areas, given the formation that Charleston playing, there's opportunities there to hit them on the counter-attack. Just
those stats to underscore that point. The 5 shots of our match have all come by Pittsburgh, despite the fact that Charleston have had 70% possession through our first 25 minutes. This one clipped forward, nodded down. Ikaza will get there first. He can slide this one across. Important intervention by Mertz coming across to intercept the pass by Markanek. Cleared away, but again, Charleston will continue to recycle and try and generate something. On the lookout for their first shot of the match.
And I think it's always important to put context to where the possession is. If you look at a lot of Charleston's possession, it has been in and around the halfway line with their 3 defenders. They haven't really been able to pin Pittsburgh back in the defensive third and connect passes and sustain possession. It's been a lot around the halfway line, and Pittsburgh have been dropping off, allowing them to have possession of the ball, which is also a tactic in the game. Maybe they don't want to press them in those scenarios, and they want to allow them to have possession of the ball, and they're controlling and dictating the tempo of the game without having the ball. It's also a skill that coaches utilize in modern day football. So sometimes we can get misled with the possession. Pittsburgh right now have the upper hand in terms of chances created, whilst Charleston have the upper hand in terms of possession. Despite not having the ball, Pittsburgh have created more goal-scoring opportunities. Charleston have had the ball, but not necessarily been able to threaten Pittsburgh with it.
Malloy over this free kick. He'll curl this one in with the right foot. Can't quite claim it, and he comes across to try to get involved, and it is going to be a throw in. There was thoughts about maybe was it a handball, was it a foul, but in the end, Eric Dick does just about enough.
Yeah, didn't look like the greatest delivery. It looked like it was way too high and wide. Keeper comes out to claim it, spills it. I thought the referee's going to blow his whistle for a PK here. A little unorthodox goalkeeping, to say the least. A little wild, but
did the job.
They come away unscathed. I think that's a let-off there.
Yeah, Eric Dick, I think, colliding with his own defender on that set piece. So nearly a mistake at the back by Pittsburgh.
Rush of blood there from Kuzemka. I think he needs to come out, claim that, and hold on to the ball. He drops it, and that's where the chaos creates. Great pass there.
Here's Allen from distance. That one slicing just wide. That is the first shot of the match for Charleston.
And again,
to the lineup, Allen,
again,
just wide.
It comes from distance. Neither team has been able to unlock players and get inside the ball in the box. 90% of goals are scored from inside the box. Shooting from that distance, of course, it's a midfielder's territory, but goal scorers score inside the box. They've been unable to possess the ball and find players inside the box where there's a higher conversion rate.
Markanek slides it across. This one whipped right into the 6-yard box. Dick went to try and get to it. His center back got there first. It's cleared away in the end. But again, that communication just a little erratic at times between the goalkeeper and defense. Smith going long. Markanek nods it down for Malloy. Gives it back to Markanek. Ikaza lets it run across. Allen. Dos Santos making the run. It's a well-weighted pass at the end line, and Dos Santos trying to drag it across. It's blocked. Torres, first time, delivery, and this time Dick will claim it.
Better goalkeeping from Dick on this occasion. Holds on to the ball, keeps his team in possession. Sometimes goalkeepers come out in those scenarios and they punch him. I love it when goalkeepers come out and they're actually able to hold on to possession of the ball and kickstart the attacks. However, he's probably had this ball in his hands now for 10 seconds. I keep asking, what happened to referees blowing the clock at 6 seconds and goalkeepers having to get rid of the ball? I think it's become a little bit lax and it slows down the tempo of the game. You saw he claimed possession of the ball there and was intentional in taking his time to allow his team to get organised and up the field. The game's a little bit more dynamic when you force the goalkeepers to release it quicker.
Ball in centrally there. It sits up kindly, and that shot right at Kuzemka in the end, able to catch it and claim it. It was a whistle. I think it might be a brief pause here, but Charleston will be able to recycle from the back line.
It was a good strike there from Kizza. The ball's bobbling around the edge of the box, and the half volley, quick snapshot, drills it well, but it's just straight down the center of the goal. Kuzemka well positioned to make it look easy, but good strike there from Kizza.
That one slicing out of play. It's a throw in for the Riverhounds. Advancing the territory, throw in further up the pitch.
You can see the sun's starting to set now. The temperature will cool off a little bit for the players. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Bob Lilly barking out some instructions to his side.
And we asked Bob Lilly, you know, the team performed well against Indy last week. At the end of the game, did you read them the right act, or were you telling them, you know, they performed well to keep it going, to keep beating himself? And he said he read them the right act. Unfortunately, he said he laid into them, he gave it to them, he held them accountable. He said, you can play as fancy as you want, as nice as you want. You got to find the way to win the games, and don't be so lax in defensive moments. A couple of defensive moments let them down, and they were punished by Indy 11 because of it.
He was very frustrated, especially with the first goal conceded. The corner kick was a header from about 3 yards out from the corner.
Albeit it was a great delivery from Stanley. He whipped him with so much pace, accuracy.
Slid across. Blackstock, he lifts it over the challenge, and the referee is going to give a corner kick. Had that dramatic walk-up, was wondering if he was going to point to the spot. There was a lot to break down there. There was advantage played. They moved all the way along. It's going to be a corner in the end after Sterling, a massive collision there.
Always dangerous when you go to ground in those situations in the box.
Sterling will need some treatment. Still trying to break down fully what the call is here, but the immediate attention going to be given to Keziah Sterling, who is feeling that left knee after the thumping challenge, trying to play that one across.
We spoke about Markanic in a lot of the pre-game show, but he's been a little bit quiet in this opening 30 minutes. We haven't really called his name too often.
I don't think we've said MD Meyer's name one time at all. I mean, maybe the first time on the broadcast.
Both teams doing a good job of shutting down the threatening, attacking players. Griffin, of course, had that shot from distance earlier in the game, but it's been a quiet night so far for the attacking players for Charleston.
We see Ben Pierman using this brief pause. Sterling was getting some treatment to have some instructions just past the 30-minute mark. Won't be a corner, it appears. It's going to be a goal kick to come for the Battery. As Sterling's limping off, we'll see if that will limit him from contributing further, or if that will be able to come back out on the field. Mentioned Adam Grinwis. He got injured against Birmingham in that 1-0 win back on May 15th, very late on. Daniel Kuzemka came into the match, saw things out. He's made now 6 appearances in all competitions. Kuzemka has. Grinwis back on the bench, available. Here's Mertz. You can see Sterling waiting to come back into the match. Throw in. Battery are back at Patriots Point on Friday, June 28th, facing North Carolina FC. Tickets are available now via SeatGeek, the Battery's exclusive ticketing provider. Get your tickets now and save up to $10 per seat when you buy in advance. Head to tickets.charlestonbattery.com today.
North Carolina FC obviously returning to USL Championship this season. It was interesting to see some of the veterans or the older players out in the TST tournament over the past couple of days.
Turned over, Torres able to sprint with this one forward. He has MD Myers alongside him. Gonna fire that one on frame. Dick saves it, it's cleared away. No nonsense defending. And it goes out of play. Torres getting on the end of this one. Took it all himself.
It's not a bad effort from Torres at all. Just driving forward with the ball, dynamic, gets out his feet and just sees nobody in the box to pass it to, so he goes for a goal himself.
It's clear to play for the throw-in. Torres will let Dos Santos come forward, the left back. He'll take this throw-in.
Torres lets off a vicious strike there from distance.
Trying to curl that one in, cleared away. Mertz cushions that down, hooked forward. Sterling is back out on the field. You see him challenging for this one.
Ball was swerving and dipping, and Dick just managed to parry it away from goal.
Lifted forward. Some pushing and shoving. Physical play. Referee says it was mutual. Nothing to be given there. Going down was Edward Kizza. Always looked like maybe he was looking for something there. The last man, if there was a foul, would have been a very interesting choice for the referee to have to make there. Push from behind potentially. It is indeed. It's a free kick.
Sells it a little bit. He does sell it a little bit.
We've seen that at both ends now. Just trying to add that little extra oomph to get the foul across the line.
American Airlines the way he went down there.
We'll see it again.
Watch the wings come out.
Certainly was enough contact for it to be a foul. But Ikaza doing well to... It is a skill, you know, to be able to sell it a little bit.
I don't know about that.
No?
I don't know about that. I like the tenacious ones who stay on their feet. They get hit, they stay on their feet. They let the referees make their decisions.
Well, Emilio Ikaza will point to this, if anything comes from it, and say this is the benefit of playing the game to the rules. Aaron Malloy, a dangerous deliverer of these set pieces, can try and stand one up. Dangerous delivery. It ends up going through everybody. It did take a deflection. There are two Pittsburgh players down, feeling themselves after that. Osumanu looks to have taken the biggest brunt of it.
Great driven delivery here from Malloy. I used to love these types of balls. They just hang there, just give you enough for the attackers to jump and time the elevation.
Under 10 minutes now until halftime. We've had a few stoppages, so maybe a few extra minutes to be added on in this one, but still waiting for our biggest concrete chance of the match so far, and of course waiting for our first goal.
First corner here from the left side. This is where Pittsburgh conceded last week.
They will not like that reminder as they prepare for this one to be taken, but it was right in that 6-yard box. Great left-footed delivery in. Goalkeeper didn't quite get across to get a good starting position to claim. We'll see what Torres can try and develop with this one. They'll go short. Roll the cross. Torres takes a deflection and we'll do it again from that side.
It's going to be difficult to score from that distance. So many bodies in the box protecting the goal.
Does that almost help at times? Just put it into the chaos?
Well, he's just going to have to hit it like a rocket and it could ricochet off somebody's shin and find its way into the back of the net. You can see Pittsburgh are doing a better job of overloading players in that near post area. They have three players just marking space in that area now, so it's a lot different.
They'll do it again. Here's Torres. This time he'll deliver it, hooked up towards the back post, but Dick is able to rise highest and claim that. Rolled out for Blackstock. That's a well-weighted ball. Robbie Mertz. He's only got one with him, but he's able to hold this one up a little bit, drive it into the 18-yard box. Mertz onto the right foot. Oh, it'll be blocked by Allen. Studious defensive work by the midfielder. Concedes the corner kick, but deals with that threat right there.
Good defending there from Allen, but if you look when Mertz takes off and he has so much space in this wide channel, it takes too long for Pittsburgh to get support up to him. After 10, 15 seconds, only 2 players arrive in the box. Makes the chance of converting very low. Somebody's got to get up there and support him quicker. Leaves him a lot to do. He tries to take it on himself, but good defending from Allen there. Sends the ball out for a corner kick.
Here's Robbie Mertz, taking the corner that he won. the end, knocked away by Charleston. Here's Etu. He'll serve it back up into the 18-yard box. Again, repelled away. Clever ball, and it comes off. Blackstock. He'll end up stepping on it. A bit of a slip. Dos Santos takes advantage, dives in, and knocks it out for the throw. Mertz plays it across. This one curled forward. Kuzemka claims. Goes long with that one. It's just going to be knotted down by Osumanu. Etu. Walty plays it back to Etu. He can drive it forward. First time ball clipped forward. Mertz the target. Trying to just cushion that one down, potentially have a go. Both Walty and Etu were in the area, but it comes through Kuzemka.
You can see just a little bit of struggle in the quality of that final delivery into the box. It's not really delivered with any kind of pace or purpose. It's just kind of put in there to see what happens. Both teams a little sloppy in their play right now. Poorly hit passes and crosses as we approach 5 minutes to halftime. I envision both coaches will be content going into halftime 0-0. Have the opportunities going to tweak their formations a little bit, potentially make any changes to try and expose their opponents, but it's been a fairly even first half, I think.
Dos Santos slides in, gets there first ahead of Blackstock. Been a frequent matchup for one another. Right wing back for the Riverhounds, the left back, the former Riverhound, and Dos Santos now for the Battery. Intercepted by Allen. Has a few options with him. Ikaza closest, Torres a bit further forward. It's Torres. Ikaza keeps his run going. The switch by Torres. Slightly overhit from Arcanic to take it down in the box, but he'll stay with it in the attacking third. Segbers. Now Malloy. Clips it forward, one for Segbers to chase. Was he fouled in the box? Gets back to his feet immediately, slides it off. Ikaza may have been blocked by Myers, and he was in an offside position when he blocked it for his own team. Double whammy there. It's going to be a free kick, and the chance is gone.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful with defending. We've seen a couple of players now go to close down quickly and slip. And obviously inside the 18-yard box, a mistimed tackle is obviously going to end up in a P-kick. So they have to be very careful. We see it here a little bit. Malloy, great little pass over the top into space. Not sure if foul, free kick, trip, not sure.
You always can look at the reaction of the player. Segber's getting right back to his feet, probably indicating that he didn't quite feel it was a ton of impeding on him.
Yeah.
Blackstock. They'll switch it to his opposite fullback, Etu. He's in some space to carry it forward now against Segbers. Arcanic tracking back to offer his support. Pass sprayed forward there, aiming for Blackstock, but it's overhit, going out of play.
You like expected goals, Jack.
Love it.
Expected goals for Charleston. Charleston's 0.07.
Yep.
And
0.7%.
0.26.
Not a ton there. Not a ton there.
Hopefully we're not believing in the stats today. We want to see goals. We want to see entertainment.
Well, we brought up those stats at the beginning of the broadcast. The 17.98 entering today expected for Pittsburgh. Not a bad number. It's 6th in the league, but their underperformance down to just 11 actual goals is the worst underperformance more than anybody else, with that negative 6.98 number there. A lot of numbers being thrown around, but basically they've scored about 7 fewer goals than they're expected to, and that has a big impact over just 12 matches.
And we spoke about whether this would be a goal fest or a stalemate. Looking at 2 of the teams in the league, both conferences that have created the most chances, irrespective of their conversion rates. And so far, given the expected goals, it's not looking like the goal fest that we anticipated or wanted. But we can always often see a game of 2 halves. The second half, maybe they're sparring a little bit, feeling each other out. Second half, they come out swinging.
This fixture at Patriots Point last season, it was a 3-1 win for the Battery when these sides met. Played through the middle. Laid off. Clever ball into the box for Ikaza, trying to just backheel that one. Couldn't quite get enough onto it. Did they hit the hand of Dos Santos? Referee says it did, and it's going to be a free kick, and the pressure is gone for the Battery.
The good news for Pittsburgh is they have not conceded the first goal, which means that they still are in with a chance of winning the game. And Vision Bob Lilly now will be having his team focusing on game management in the remaining minutes of the first half. Don't concede any chances, don't do anything silly, don't give away any needless free kicks or corners. Let's get into halftime, regroup, game plan for the second half.
A lot of parallels between these sides, of course, meeting for the 42nd ever time. 2 of the oldest sides, not just in the USL Championship, but in American soccer in general. Played forward. MD Myers can try and use his speed to make it uncomfortable, and the speed will force a throw in. So here in the final moments of our first half, Segbers takes it quick. The throw in. Take it quick. Arcanic. Just some flicks to keep it pushing along. Now into the 18-yard box. The referee will pull play back. It's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the 18.
That is inches away from being a penalty.
That is.
Inches.
You see where that spray is being put down. That tells you the exact distance there. Let's see it again.
That's the last thing you need just before half-time, is to make a foul in this area. And again, American Airlines flying through the air, diving.
That's the first time I've heard.
He flicks it
that
over his head. Doesn't really get much contact, and he throws himself. The referee's been conned there. In honesty, the fourth official is in a good position to make that decision.
Well, Osumanu walked over and was talking to the referee about that call. Felt it was a little unfortunate against him.
Pittsburgh need to make sure they stay focused. Seconds to half-time, the last thing they need to do is concede from a dubious free kick given away in a very dangerous area.
Some lethal takers potentially for the Battery. On the left, Juan David Torres. On the right, Aaron Malloy. Malloy backs off. It's just Torres. Whips this one in, and at the near post, a brave header. Kiza knocks out of play as we enter into 3 minutes of MUSC stoppage time at the end of our first 45 minutes.
Focused defending there from Pittsburgh. They look strong in defending set pieces today. Touch wood, I don't jinx them with this last corner before halftime, but they look very focused and a good understanding of their positioning and where they need to be, and focus on their man marking responsibilities.
The delivery right into the box. It takes a big looping header. Allen cushions it down, trying to shoot it through a sea of players. It's blocked away.
Good defending there from Pittsburgh. Even when it comes to the edge, they don't win the first header, but they do well to shut down the shot, see away any danger.
I was certainly risking the commentator's curse, mentioning the strength of their set-piece defending right before a set-piece.
So many times that curse has struck this year, so many times.
We give ourselves too much power at times, honestly. Too much credit. We've got about 2 minutes more of our first half here today. Chris, do you feel like either side will feel better about the result currently as it stands? Can you maybe Pittsburgh, slower start to the year? How are the sides viewing this one as we near halftime?
I think Pittsburgh have to continue to build a little confidence. They've lost their last 2 games, so anything positive from a loss is a step forward. So even if they're able to come away from this game with a tie, it's a step forward from their previous 2 games. However, we spoke about them needing to turn all of their performances into wins, and tonight's a great opportunity to do that. It's never a bad time to do it. For Charleston, you're at home. It's on you to dominate play. You're second in the table, so you're in a more advantageous position. you're in front of your home fans. Probably the onus is on them to have a little bit more dynamic in their offense. We spoke about them dominating possession, but this is where the possession has been, in and around the halfway line, not posing tremendous threats to the Pittsburgh defense. And I think Pittsburgh are happy with that. You can see they're dropping all 11 players behind the ball. Let them have it at the halfway line.
Pass between the lines. The shot from distance. That one just over. Almost a moment of magic to send us into halftime, but that one just slightly over.
And this has been maybe the story for both teams. It's going to take an absolutely tremendous shot to score from that distance. It's not a high conversion rate. It does happen, of course, but you'd rather players shooting from 25, 30 yards than having tap-ins or shots from 5 or 6 yards out in front of goal. So you need to be strong in your defensive line. You need to trust your goalkeeper in those situations. I would say the midfielders have to do a better job of putting pressure on Torres in that situation. Don't allow him time and space to get the ball out of his feet and strike, because you can see he has a lot of power and accuracy in that left foot. If you allow him to wind up 2 or 3 more times, there's a chance you're taking that ball out the back of your net. So I would say the midfielders have to do a better job of getting pressure on him, not allowing him that time and space to get shots off, because there's a small number of players who can be consistently dangerous in the areas, and Torres seems to be one of them.
Final seconds here. Final whistle of our first half. The sides, no goals to separate them after 48 minutes. We'll head into the break, and at halftime we can check out some scores from around the country, get you prepped for the upcoming U.S. Open Cup matches, and just get you some general first half highlights. As both coaches, a lot to ponder and a lot to think about as we break for halftime. No goals for either side between the Battery and the Riverhounds in the 42nd meeting all time, fighting for the Old Guard Shield at the end of the season. Halftime content to come here, but our score at the break, it's Charleston 0, Pittsburgh 0.
Innovation means training tomorrow's leaders in the latest technologies, because we know the next idea to change the future of medicine may well come from them. At the Medical University of South Carolina, innovation is who we are.
Hola.
¿Alguna otra cerveza?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Ok, ahora vuelvo.
South Carolina students on the road to success, because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
Innovation means developing novel therapies for patients today and taking the first steps toward life-changing discoveries decades in the future. At the Medical University of South Carolina, innovation is who we are.
Halftime between Charleston and Pittsburgh. Still waiting for our first goal in our match here today during halftime between these two sides. It's a busy day up and down the country in the USL Championship. Both sides looking for points. Charleston trying to push up towards the top of the table. Pittsburgh closer to the playoff line. Here are some scores around the league presented by the Charleston International Airport. Big one to watch out for, Louisville against North Carolina. Of course, that top of the table matchup. Detroit City currently on the road to the 1-0 edge over Rhode Island, and some more games to come later tonight.
Yeah, big one, Monterey Bay versus Sac Republic tonight. Monterey Bay could find themselves top of the table if they would pick up 3 points tonight. Very tight Western Conference.
Indeed. 6 games up and down the country. That top of the table continuing to be a big factor in that title race between Louisville and Charleston. 3 more games to show you as well. Oakland taking on Tampa Bay, Las Vegas against Miami, and Phoenix Rising, defending champions, taking on Orange County to round out our Saturday here today across the USL Championship. We're very close to that halfway mark of the season. The match is becoming more and more important up and down the country. Well, our current score at the half, still 0-0 between these two sides. After this break, we've got some news and notes from up and down the country to show you between these two sides. It's currently 0-0 at the half.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
Take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
What a moment.
Rolls it across, Cheney leaves it, Galindres! Regulation time, Doyle, and up in front, rebound, scores!
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer, they want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. Maybe running every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Potentially can still be shifted around by all these sides. Wonder maybe will Pittsburgh bring in some forwards? What will teams do? Charleston, of course, moving on a player. Will they fill that spot? Remains to be seen. As well as the upcoming U.S. Open Cup matches very soon, just about a month out from this one. Some big-time matchups. We got Sacramento Republic and New Mexico, as well as Indy 11 as some of the last remaining USL Championship sides.
Of course, we have 3 USL Championships into the final 8. Phenomenal opportunity for the USL Championship teams to find themselves into the finals. My money, if there's going to be one, New Mexico have been strong. However, LA is a pretty formidable opponent to come up against. It's going to be interesting to see.
Interesting to see at the very least. SKC, Seattle both looking for a 5th title as the MLS sides trying to push themselves along into the semifinals of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. As well as the team of the week back from week 13. No players for either Charleston or Pittsburgh. Maybe a bit of motivation though for Charleston, seeing some Louisville players in there. Wilson Harris, a great start to the season for him as a forward as well, competing with Marcanic not only in the table but also in that Golden Boot race. A back line as well containing A.J. Patterson of Birmingham Legion, Anthony Siaha, the headline player in this team of the week from week 13, with Robbie Nielsen being the coach of the week for the Rowdies. Well, we've got one last break. On the other side of it, we can show you our halftime highlights and stats. One last break, and when we come back, it's the second half between the Battery and the Riverhounds. Don't go anywhere.
When we took this job, we knew that the future was the EX90.
A lot of people are excited about it.
We're really happy to see the EX90 on the line.
I'm Tamara Thompson. And Rachel Gillum.
My name is Eric Brown.
And the Volvo EX90 was made by us.
L is for the way you look. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give to you.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete, You're obsessed. You're in love. You're in pain. Spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity. Because you made a commitment to yourself and others. To work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat. Because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health Sports Medicine.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
When we took this job, we knew that the future was the EX90.
A lot of people are excited about it.
We're really happy to see the EX90 on the line.
I'm Tamara Thompson.
I'm Rachel Gillum.
My name is Eric Brown.
And the Volvo EX90 was made by us.
Halftime is nearing its conclusion. The Battery and Pittsburgh facing off. A fascinating match so far. A gorgeous sunset as we are gearing up in the second half now between these two sides. Jack Edwards and Chris Nurse here with you in the broadcast booth. We can show you our first half highlights. A few shots for the two teams. It was probably a better start to the game for Pittsburgh in comparison to Charleston, who really did have some good opportunities in transition. We'll see some of these early moments, just some speculative efforts from distance. Junior Etsu just not quite able to put that one on frame, just going wide of the net for Kuzemka on that particular instance. There would be a follow-up chance here, just at 11th minute, a bit of chaos in front of goal. First shot by Etsu blocked, and then Danny Griffin on the second effort, a great effort on frame.
Yeah, I think you'll see the common theme from most of the efforts that we saw from both teams, that they were all outside the box. So resolute defending from both teams, not really allowed in any penetrating passes or players to get inside of the box to get opportunities. The only efforts that really come have been shots from distance, and obviously there's a low conversion rate. Goalkeepers have made a couple of big saves, but as expected.
33rd minute here now, a great chance on the break for Torres, just driving this one forward with the left foot. No one really in support, just had to go himself, knuckling a bit, almost causing some issues for Eric Dick, but able to parry that one away, cleared away by Pat Hogan. These are the halftime stats brought to you by Heineken. 7 shots for Charleston, 6 for Pittsburgh. Possession heavily in favor of the Battery, but still not that cutting edge you saw from those highlights. We're not leaving anything out. There wasn't a big chance for either side to write home about.
Yeah, and as we spoke about, we've hardly mentioned Markanic's name in that first half. He has 12 goals, 4 more than any individual Pittsburgh player, but he has been completely silent in the first half. So from a defensive standpoint, Pittsburgh have achieved their target of snuffing down Charleston's most dangerous player. However, they now need to find a way to create more goal-scoring opportunities for themselves. And most importantly, can they convert?
Indeed, can they convert? We showed you that stat at the beginning of the broadcast. Pittsburgh struggling to convert some of their chances so far this season. The lowest performing side in comparison to their XG out of any team in the league so far. Both teams, just on the theme of expected goals here today, 0.26 for both teams. So the XG not saying either side really is having a ton of opportunities for them to write home about. Players beginning to retake the field. What's the thought process in your mind, Chris, for these two sides in terms of how these coaches are approaching halftime? Is it positively? Is it kind of laying into them a little bit, trying to get more of a performance? What's the mentality for the two teams?
I think for Charleston, Ben Perman would demand more. Inevitably, you're the home team, second in the table, scored a ton load of goals this season, second for goals scored. And you're not leading the game at halftime. You're not really exciting your fans. You're not really bringing that energy and enthusiasm to the stadium. So they've got up things a little bit more in the second half. For Bob Lilly, he'll be wanting his Pittsburgh team to continue to frustrate them. The more you can frustrate them, the longer you can stay in the game. There's always going to be that 1 or 2 chances, because you know the team is capable of creating chances. You know you're going to get that opportunity. It's just going to have the moment where you need to be calm, composed, cool and collective and convert. So for Pittsburgh, maybe just a little more of the same, just a little bit more attacking mindset. Don't open up too much and leave yourself exposed now and allow Charleston to come at you and have chance after chance. But when you do get that moment, which will inevitably come, make sure you have the focus and the poise and composure to convert it.
The teams are nearing second half between these two sides, and the gray kits are the Charleston Battery. In the center circle, Emilio Icaza looking to help lead his side return to 3 points. 10 days off since their last match for the Battery in the Yellow kits are the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, the visitors, trying to get their first win in just over a month. Flicked along. That's going to be an early throw in now for the Riverhounds. Talk about that up and down form. Defeat to Tulsa in the Open Cup back towards the beginning of May. A draw with Tulsa, a draw with North Carolina, but then defeats to Memphis and Indy 11. Means that they are winless in the last 5 in all competitions, 4 in the league. On the Charleston end of things, it's, for their standards so far this year, a bit of poor run of form. A draw last time out against Monterey Bay on the road was the 3rd match in a week. Felt they were quite tired, Ben Pierman did. And also liked some of the coaching choices that he made, leaving players out on the field a bit longer, and felt the legs went a little bit despite having about 2.5 expected goals. Match ended in a 0-0 draw. Charleston unable to take their chances in that particular match. The long ball forward going over everybody. Before that one, it was the first defeat of the season, a 2-1 defeat against El Paso. Chris Allen was sent off just before halftime, and in the end, they fell for the first time in the league just days after losing to Atlanta United in the Open Cup. Long ball over the top, one for Kizza to chase. The touch invites him in to press and take over. That may have hit a hand. It did indeed. It's going to be a free kick, and maybe a bit of a careless turnover there from Leland Archer. Now it's a free kick for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there's a poor defensive moment there from Archer altogether. He lets the ball bounce. He then takes his touch and turns into Kizza. Then loses possession of the ball, handballs it, and gives away a free kick.
Not a great run.
It's not a great start to the second half there from Archer. You want to start the second half on the front foot.
Pittsburgh, the start to the second half against Indy 11 was marked by a goal within just 55 seconds. Sebastian Gonzatti capitalizing on a bit of a slow start for them. They would love to try and inflict similar pain on their hosts in this match. The Riverhounds would. A free kick now, just past 2 minutes in. It's Mertz who will deliver. Go low. Etsu curling that one forward, and can be left by Kuzemka. Goes out for the goal kick.
Yeah, it was a tough set piece to say the least. The ball's fired in there too. Normally, if you're going to play that set piece, you roll it so that he can kind of bend it towards the far post first time. As you can see, when the ball comes to him, he's a little bit shocked. His first touch is a little bit panicked, and then he tries to whip it far post with way too much elevation on the ball.
Loy. Archer. Probing the defense with a long ball forward. That's who mishits his clearance, but on the second try with his preferred left foot, hooks that one upfield. Archer gets ahead to it. Bounces back to Segbers.
Charleston crowd out in full force tonight, making themselves heard. Just haven't been given anything to celebrate as yet.
Segbers, pressed by Etsu. Segbers trying the ball forward. It goes all the way through. Eric Dick can claim. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select is the player's choice. Pass, invites the press. Suber does just about enough to keep pushing it along. Blackstock, good ball to pick out Walty to get between the lines. Flicked on. Kizza, they've broken through the press here. It's a 2-on-2. A few numbers coming forward in support as well. It's Mertz carrying it into the box. A nutmeg. Mertz, important sliding intervention. Knocks it away. Dos Santos pushes it along. Was that a foul by Walty? Referee says yes, it was, and it's going to be a yellow card for the central midfielder. His finger wag won't be enough. His frustrations compounded. He's the first player booked in our match today.
Not sure is it aggressive enough for a yellow card. It's like his first offense. If it was a persistent infringement, I would say, of course, but a little bit harsh. I think he feels a little bit hard done by. Obviously, he has to be a little bit careful with the timing of his tackles for the remainder of the game.
Slipped into the box, fired across, it's blocked.
Yellow card was granted for Pittsburgh, number 42, Jackson Walton.
Out of play will be a throw-in now for Pittsburgh.
It's interesting because Pittsburgh drop into a low block when Charleston have possession of the ball, which means there's not really a lot of space behind them. So there's not the opportunity to play balls in behind and runners going in behind. They have to find a way to penetrate, but the lines are so tight and compact, it's difficult to find penetrating passes. It's frustrating Charleston in possession of the ball.
Slid across. Etu. Rolls it up to Kiza. Up against 3 in gray. Does get it along, but that's a bit of a poor pass. Here's Walty. He has a few with him, moves it along to Mertz. Blackstock on the overlap. Mertz will have a go, and it's a good save. Kuzemka saves it, doesn't spill it. Deals with that threat.
It was the right decision there from Mertz. He's driving forward with the ball, and the defender doesn't step to him. He keeps dropping off because there's a runner coming on the outside, but he just doesn't get enough purchase on the strike of the ball to really test the goalkeeper in this situation. But it was the right choice for Mertz in that situation, just unable to test Kuzemka with the strike.
It's push from behind and a free kick. Battery have a brand new look on and off the field this year thanks to Hummel, the club's official jersey provider. Check out the full line of new Battery gear, including the custom 2024 kits, by visiting shop.charlestonbattery.com.
You can fact check me here, Jack, but I'm not sure we've had a strike from inside the box, let alone a shot on target from inside the box in 52 minutes of this game so far.
It's clipped in. Oh, I was wondering if the commentators' curses would come out in full effect there. Was it coming together there? I don't think there has been one. I'm going to try and dig through now and do some quick searching through, but at the very least, it feels like there hasn't been one.
I think there was one just before Griffin had his strike that was blocked by the defender, whether you class that as a shot or not, but there hasn't been any kind of sustained possession where they've created opportunities for players making runs inside the box. All the shots have been from distance.
Here's Etu. Was he pushed there? He was. That one may be a bit of a careless free kick to give away. Mark Segbers just bumping into the back of his opponent. And again, the free kick in a position to potentially deliver.
It's a similar free kick maybe to where we saw the booking a couple minutes ago. It's not really that zealous, just a little bit of body into the back end.
Quick taken free kick. Trying to sneak that one through. Not quite able to get a shot off.
We haven't really seen any dynamic use of the outside back or the wingers with balls into space that they can drive onto and counter-attack and expose their opponents.
It slipped forward. Here's Allen. Carrying, moves it out. Markanik trying to slide this one along, plays it on. Myers can't quite generate the angle, lays it off from distance. The shot by Malloy blocked. Dos Santos. Torres now. Clips this one into the box. It cushions. Ikaza went for the spectacular and maybe a bit of an awkward fall in the end. It's going to be a goal kick.
Extravagant effort there, to say the least.
It comes off. Maybe the greatest moment of his career, but in the end.
I actually don't think he could really try anything different in that scenario, unless he just wants to keep possession of the ball, bring it down and find a teammate. But
May have been a slight push in the back by Alal Osumanu. It was clever in the end. Just kind of almost moved him once he was beginning his bicycle kick, where he couldn't quite get his legs sorted to properly catch the ball.
We always see one of those a game, though, right? I think it's going to go into a USL Championship bloopers reel of when bicycle kicks go wrong.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like the top 15 of when bicycle kicks go wrong.
It would be great because we only see the ones that come off, and it makes it seem almost easy.
Well, we only see the replays of the ones that come off.
Replays the ones that come off.
The ones that don't normally hit somebody in the face, somebody gets injured, or the ball goes to a fan somewhere in the stands.
Kaza, the touch a bit heavy, but the idea on that turn really clever. The ball forward, the flag goes up. Joy cut short for Pittsburgh, trying to get it over the top. They're prepping some subs, so the early changes will be made by Pittsburgh first.
The flag definitely goes up, but I think if you see the replay here, the defenders are caught sleeping. They have no awareness of where he is in that situation. And if he had better timed his run, I think he would have found himself with a great 1v1 opportunity there.
Shot will roll just wide. Chris, I'm not sure if you've seen it this way too, but it feels like Charleston's buildup has been much deeper in this second half in comparison to the first, trying to almost draw this press out from Pittsburgh a bit more stretched, because we were talking about in that first half, a lot of those passes were happening at the halfway mark. We'll get back to that in a moment as Robbie Mertz will be coming out, making way. The two players coming in, Bradley Sample and Canardo Forbes. We mentioned Forbes moved to the bench. That was a tactical choice made by Bob Lilly. Wanted to bring him on in the second half, and Forbes comes on now. Will try and get his first assist of 2024, making way Jackson Waltzy as well as Robbie Mertz for Bradley Sample, Canardo Forbes.
And you heard Bob Lilly speak about Canardo Forbes and what he continues to bring to this team. He hasn't slowed down whatsoever. He still has the quality to provide assists and key passes for his teammates. So expect to see that now. The game changing a little bit now he's onto the pitch.
Kiza trying to slide that ball forward. Aiming for Forbes, trying to get immediately involved in things. A jolt of energy as the two subs come onto the field. Looks like it's almost now a 3-4-3 shape now rather than the 3-5-2 for Pittsburgh, with Forbes joining that front two. Let's see what impact those subs have on the match. If there's any subs in reply by Charleston.
Good defending there from Hogan.
Segbers with the throw in. Darts past his opponent, finds Ikaza. He lays it off. Markanik into the box, trying to fire that one across. Making things a bit awkward. It's blocked out of play. Corner kick will come from this one.
Good attacking play there from Markanik. It's the first time we actually see him get on the ball. Very tight ball control. You see it here, just has the ability to jink in between players quickly, get out his feet, just unable to get the shot off. Tries to play a pass across to his teammate with the outside of his left foot, but intercepted by Pittsburgh, who have defended very well tonight once again.
Bradley Sample, his first touch since coming on. The defensive one. They push it out of play. A corner comes from it. Malloy stands it up. It's knotted down. Looping ball forward. In the end, Eric Dick ends up in his own goal. Saw that one out over the bar.
Lacking quality in that final pass. Charleston did well to keep the ball alive there. They didn't win the first header, but they did well to keep sustained pressure. Winning the second ball, but just the final pass lacked quality.
That's going to be a free kick heading the way of Pittsburgh. Well, if you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app.
All right, despite the expected goal seen at 0.27 and 0.28, we're at 9 shots and 7 shots for each team. I don't know where it is, a statistic, there's a statistic somewhere that says that the average goal is scored every 8 shots. So we're approaching a time when we should see a goal sooner or later for either team. Who gets the first one is vitally important, as we spoke about. When Pittsburgh concede the first goal, they have not often, in fact, on 0 occasion this season, they've won the game when they've conceded the first goal. So this is going to be probably the most telling statistics of which way the game is going to go tonight.
Curled into the box, claimed. Kuzemka. It was great pressing by Kiza a few moments before just to go right on the blind side of Ikaza to pick it up. Blocked the pass by Sterling, attempted there. Now it's stretched a little bit here. What can Charleston try and develop? It's a well-decided pass from Arcane. It couldn't quite get onto the end of it, and it's back with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Marcanic just allowed that to run across his body rather than coming towards the ball and get it under control, and picked up a little too much speed and ran away from it. Ended up trying to make a slide tackle to regain possession. Good play there from Sample.
Charleston prepping some subs of their own. You can see their patience in the build-up. They want Pittsburgh to press them a little bit, try and stretch the lines.
I think you have to give credit to Pittsburgh in the way that they press. They're patient, and when one player goes, they've all gone. The way you get beaten is when one player goes and the rest don't go together, and you end up very disjointed in the way you try to close down the opponents.
That header almost breaking through all lines. Sterling a slight slip. That's a turnover of possession. Sample slides it out. It's Canardo Forbes. As a teammate in support, it's Blackstock, but his touch lets him down. It's taken away.
Sample wins that ball there, and you have Kiza on the left-hand side of the field all alone. He's just unable to play it quick enough and accurate enough to make it count. But that's the opportunities there when you win possession of the ball. Your opponents are spread out because they're obviously trying to attack, and the spaces are there to penetrate. But if you don't play that pass at the right time, the opportunity is gone. And unfortunately, that was a great chance there for Pittsburgh to create another chance, create another scoring opportunity.
Yep. Slid forward. It's put into the box. It's Sterling. Backheels it to no one in particular. No one behind him to try and offer their support. Allen playing it forward. Can't pick out Myers.
You can look for Pittsburgh. When the ball was on the right-hand side there, Etu was making a late run on this left-hand side. If they're just able to be a little bit more patient in possession, switch the point of attack, he was all alone making that last post run. I think that's where the attack has maybe let them down, is just having a little bit more patience. It's patience in the final third, switching the point of attack and trying to find that free player in time and space who probably have a little bit more time to convert the chance. Charleston just trying to go over the top of Pittsburgh's press with not much success. Pittsburgh do look like they're being a little bit more aggressive in the way they're pressing. They're pressing a little bit higher up the field, definitely pressing in front of the halfway line, which they were not in the earlier stages. Earlier stages, they're dropping everybody back behind the half line. And you can see a little bit more spaces open up because of that. Both teams now chasing the game a little bit, trying to go for that go-ahead goal.
Certainly has all the makings and the feel of a match that really only needs one goal in it to potentially decide a winner.
Yeah, and we've spoken about the defenses for both of these teams. Very tough.
Over the top. It's knocked away. Flag does go up, though would have been offsides.
Very tight, very stingy defenses for both of these teams. So it is a game that's going to be won by a very tight margin, and we see that as we approach the last 25 minutes. We don't have a high goals expected rate. So it's going to be one moment of brilliance, one moment of quality from an individual player that's probably going to make the difference in this game. A player who maybe has the ability to take on 2 or 3 players and attract pressure and free the ball off to somebody in space, or somebody who has the ability to take players on and finish the play themselves. This is where the individual talent, those players who have created mindsets and the ability to finish plays, really make the difference in these moments when teams are very good defensively. You need that one player who has the capability of unlocking defenses, either with the quality of the pass, or through driving and taking on players, or just through unleashing an absolutely unstoppable strike.
Can Diego Gutierrez be that player coming off of the bench, looking for his first goal since coming into Charleston? Also making the sub like for like at left back. Josh Drack coming in for Nathan Dos Santos. His day against his former side coming to an end just past the hour mark. But Icaza coming off for Gutierrez, a more attack-minded forward on in place of Icaza. So we'll see what that does to the shape and the tenacity as you see Gutierrez on this near side on the attacking right-hand flank of Charleston. Etsu fires a low one across. Had some nice weight to it, but it's cleared away, and a chance now for Torres. If he wants to try and break it forward, he'll opt to slide it back. Now Allen.
It's not a bad idea there from Etsu. He tries to drive it back to a play in and around the penalty spot. We spoke about the time and space that he's getting out here on the left side. If Pittsburgh were able to do a better job of switching it to the right, then quickly trying to find a way to get it out here where he's isolated 1v1, he's a source of the ball on this left-hand side of the field that could end up leading to the goal-scoring opportunity.
Clipped across, laced up and over the goal. Ambitious from Gutierrez.
That might be the first effort that we've seen from inside the box. Albeit it's a great delivery here. I think it's Torres just picks his head up, dinks it to the far post. Great connection. Just unable to get his head over the ball, but I think if that's on target, you find that ripple in the back of the net. Gutierrez, the first player that's probably come on and had a strike from inside the box. Great delivery from Torres.
Clipped in, flicked along, Segbers. Allen. Malloy. Torres in the box, aiming for Myers. It's cleared high, not fully away. Sterling contesting with Allen. Fielder shows good strength, holds him off.
And you have to give both of these credits, because I tell you, one of the hardest things to do as a coach is to get your attacking wide flair players to pay attention to their defensive responsibilities.
Markanik onto the left foot, just over the bar.
And now a strike from distance here, but you can see the quality that Markanik has in that left foot. Just settles the ball down nicely here, takes a touch, gets it out his feet, and that's not far away from finding its way into the top corner at all. You can see he has an eye and an instinct for goal, and if they can find him the ball in dangerous positions, it's only a matter of time before he ripples the back of the net, but you can see why he has 12 goals this season. Rifle of a left foot. Keep feeding in it. He'll be the guy to get you goals for sure, you can see, but he's been a little bit isolated, I would say, in this right-hand side of the field. Needs to find the ball more centrally where he's in front of the 2 sticks, closer to goal where he can finish.
He's got 12 goals in the season. Pittsburgh as a team have 11. Just to underscore how dominant he has been in the attacking third to start off this campaign. He's had a few matches without scoring a goal. His last one's coming courtesy of a 4-goal effort against Las Vegas.
You could imagine trash talking, and he turns around and says, I've scored more than your whole team put together. And
they'll point to the scoreboard right now.
That may be arrogance or confidence, but it's accurate. It's actually an accurate fact. I wouldn't put him wrong for stating that.
Very passionate display from Bob Lilly.
Sometimes players need to be told in a blunt format. You know, we are in a time when we are maybe bubble wrapping communication, but sometimes you need to be straight front and honest with players and let them know exactly what you want from them, what you demand from them, and sometimes exactly what they're doing or not doing. And you know, Bob Lilly holds no bards when he does that. And his players obviously buy into it. He recruits a certain type of character with a mindset, a work ethic, a resilience, and they respond to him. You know, he's not been successful for X amount of years because he's signed players who can't respond to him. He knows the players that can respond to him, and the ones who do stick with him for a long time, look at the relationship he has had with Conrado Forbes. Worked together for X amount of years because of the character of the two players, of the two people, so to say, the coach and the player.
Etsu pushes it along. Kiza trying to turn past Archer. He shows good strength. Plays it back. Forbes was taking an interest on the back pass. It's played along. It's a clever first touch. It's laid off. Can't quite get through. It takes two Riverhounds defenders to get the block in, but they do.
Good defending there from Blackstock. I think it's Subaru who goes in to make the tackle and misses it, and Blackstock's just in a brilliant position to back him up. Sometimes that's what you need. You know, you go in for the tackle, you don't win it. You need your teammate backing you up, and that's how team chemistry works. It's very important to be successful.
Segbers.
Pittsburgh doing a good job of outnumbering Charleston in these wide areas. Even when Charleston had possession of the ball, it's 4v2 in numbers in favor of Pittsburgh.
The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Another throw-in to come for Pittsburgh. Less than 20 minutes of regulation. Besides a very, very tight contest. 11 shots to 8 in favor of Charleston. About 65% possession for the hosts as well. Out shooting, out possessing, a slip by Sterling. Sample trying to press and win it back. The XG though, very similar, 0.41, 0.4.
All right, I got a trivia question for you, Jack.
This is dangerous.
If somebody says to you qualitative superiority, what do you think they're talking about?
In terms of just numerical superiority then, just numbers?
Numbers.
Oh, in positions on the field? As in like a 2-on-1 in far areas?
See that you had to ask me 3 questions before you...
There we go, I had to get there.
Before you get the question correct.
Blocked out of play, corner kick to come.
Qualitative superiority is basically saying you have the numerical advantage.
Yes.
But players don't like to hear language that complicated. Just say we're numbers up.
I didn't like to hear language that complicated. I talk for a living. It's a corner kick to come from here.
Yeah, we always say the simplest pass is the best pass. You have to find ways to simplify things as much as possible. But I was just testing your geek knowledge.
I haven't bring up the geek numbers, so it's only fair enough. Malloy with the corner kick. It's flicked along. Allen out of his feet, curls this one into the box. It's flicked along. Malloy, Gutierrez. Another corner to come here. Six corners now for Charleston.
I heard that word on a coaching course. I almost packed up and left. I was like, what am I, in calculus or in a soccer course?
He said, yeah, that's it for me. I think the game has moved past me. Malloy again with the corner.
And then they were like, numbers up. Right, I'm back now, I'm back.
That's chaos in front of net. Did it cross the goal line? No, it didn't. Man, that one almost spinning in an awkward angle. It stays in play. That would have been a very fitting goal for our match here today. Just a big looping deflection finding its way into the back of the net.
And in reality, that's where the goal may come from. It may come from a set-piece moment, a corner kick, a free kick.
Malloy's cross blocked. He's turned here. Kiza will bring down Segbers, and he will be booked for that challenge as well. Segbers feeling the effects of that one. Let's flash back and try and make sense of that moment in front of goal just a few moments ago as Kiza is booked for that challenge.
Outswinging delivery here from Malloy.
It's a big looping deflection, and Stick doesn't quite claim it. It wasn't a foul. Would have completely stood if it found its way across the goal line.
I think it's Smith who jumps up here with Dick.
Yeah.
Just makes it difficult for Dick to catch it and collect it.
There you see the confirmation of the yellow card given to Edward Kiza. A physical tussle, ends up reaching just a little bit too much, commits the foul.
He just struggled to get control of the ball, just scrapping and fighting, trying to find a way to to sustain a possession, ends up going down 2-footed to try and win the ball, and the referee, I think, rightfully brandishes him a yellow card on this occasion.
It's a case of how do you get the ball over the line? We almost saw it there with the chaos in front of net for Charleston. Gutierrez stands this one up, and Dick claims it. Had to catch it in the air after a bobble at first. It's happened a few times. We've talked about it a few times, just the ability to claim these crosses in from Charleston by Eric Dick. In that instance, able to deal with it.
And you can see with the changes, Gutierrez coming in here on the right side of the field. Markanic is just finding himself a little bit more central in areas where he's more likely to score goals. Earlier in the game, he was isolated a little bit on this right-hand side of the field. Obviously in an area where he can always cut in on his left foot and take shots, as we saw in the game. But now he's in an area where he doesn't need to cut in so much. All he needs to be fed is with good service, or he's an area where he can just take one touch and get his strike off, which is probably what he needs to get himself on the score sheet. He doesn't want to be isolated in wide areas.
Ball over the top. Eric Dick can claim. Rolls it out. Good drop of the shoulder. It's Griffin driving this one forward, moving it out wide. Clever by Segburst to just leave that one. In the end, comes out, goal kicked to come from that.
Final pass just wasn't good enough, but great job here from Griffin. You see him driving away from players, picking up speed when he has the ball, breaking forward. Just needed a little bit more quality or finesse in the pass to create that assist opportunity.
Turned over. Here's Kizza. Slides it up. Forbes. Good strength. What options does he have? He can clip this one wide. It's Blackstock, but it's just too strong. It's a throw-in to come. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. You can download now. Allen moves it back. Gutierrez now. Segber's out wide for him, curls it in, only finds the goalkeeper.
This is the areas where you're seeing Charleston now getting a little bit more success, because the wingers drop into these inside pockets either side of the two centre midfielders and have the ability to find space and turn and go forward. Having the five at the back just allows them a little bit more space in those central pockets than they would have normally. But again, it's very difficult to find penetrating passes behind that back five and those central two when you do have possession of the ball. And as we've seen, a lot of long shots, a lot of errant crosses, a lot of overhit passes. It's very difficult to find those killer moments that create the goal scoring opportunity. You need that player who has the ability to thread the needle with the pass. And then you also need that player who has the capability to make the run in behind.
Moved out wide for Segber's after advantage was played for a foul off the ball. It's going to be a throw-in to come here. Two subs made by both teams. They still have 2 more periods as well as 3 subs apiece should they want to try and change the game in any way.
Yeah, it's been a very tight tactical affair from both coaches. Obviously, both coaches have a huge amount of respect for each other.
Back to Malloy.
Both currently cancelling each other out on the field, but
Gutierrez lets that run. It's cleared away all the way back. Out of play, it's a throw-in to come now for Pittsburgh. Well, we talked to Ben Pierman ahead of this one, and he just mentioned that at Memphis, he was delivering a presentation when transitioning from interim to full head coach about his coaching style, and he referenced a lot of things he learned from watching Bob Lilly teams defensively, where they don't commit mistakes, they don't beat themselves, and he's referenced just how much he's learned from him as a coach. Just interesting to see the parallels between these coaches. The 2022 Coach of the Year in Ben Pierman, the 2023 Coach of the Year in Bob Lilly.
And of course, Ben Pierman is transitioning from having been a player. Bob Lilly's been coaching for 25 years plus. So when you transition for a player, as long as you're studious, it takes a little bit of time to understand some of the nuances, the player management. That when you're a player, you're only focused on organizing yourself. Now as a coach, you're responsible for organizing 24-man team, staff, equipment manager, every single little aspect of the organization. It's completely different skill set that's required. But if you apply yourself to it, you can be successful, especially when you have the ideas and pictures and you can see patterns on the pitch. And I think Ben Pierman has displayed it in a very quick period of time that he can be, or he is, one of the top coaches in the USL Championship. You know, you can see the age is getting lower of what head coaches are becoming. A lot more young, a lot more dynamic, able to connect with the players from a lot more eye-level perspective. I think it's just a case of where the game is changing dynamically. We see the average age of players also dropping. 18 to 23 being the key value when players have their key value for being resold, which we've also seen an uptick in the USL Championship as players going from the USL Championship from big transfers to European teams.
Header there, cleared away. We had 3 subs between the two sides to tell you about. Coming into the match, first off for the home side, Jackson Conway coming into the starting lineup, rather. Coming out, MD Myers, a quiet day by his standards. There's a long ball forward, cushioned down there. Offside flag, though, will go up. Luke Biasi and Pierre Caillet will also be coming into the match, making way Langston Blackstock and Pat Hogan. Luke Biasi was an injury question mark entering the match. It was a question for how much would he be able to be ran out there by Bob Lilly. Good enough to play at least the next 10+ minutes. That pass just behind the intended target of Junior Etu. Pointed to where he wanted it. Push from behind by Etu, and it's going to be a free kick against the recent sub Conway.
Oh, the expected goals has ticked up just a little bit. 0.52 in favor of Charleston, 0.4 in favor of Pittsburgh.
Massive developments.
Which is an improvement.
Segbers is fouled, and it's a free kick to come here. It's taken quick, but the referee wants it from the spot where the infringement took place. Aaron Malloy trying to move that one quickly. We showed you that stat, and first in the league in expected goals was Charleston. Despite the fact that there are a total of 35 goals for Louisville, they're outperforming their expected goals by 11.5. So they lead the league in goals scored by their second in XG. Just shows you the clinical start for Louisville. Charleston, despite overperforming their XG, still second in the league in goals. They're also second in the East, trying to push themselves forward. 3 points, but do well to keep pace with the top of the table. Malloy. That one went out of play before it was knocked back across frame, and it's a goal kick to come.
And if there was anything that you were trying to click onto or glitch that's going to give an insight of who may steal the goal in this final 10 minutes of the game, Charleston have had 17 touches inside of the opposition box. Pittsburgh have just had 11 touches inside the opposition box. Of course, it's not the number of quality, it's the number of touches, it's the quality of the touches. All it takes is one quality touch to convert those chances. But if you were looking for anything that could kind of give you an insight into who may potentially get the goal scoring opportunity that wins this game, it would be in favor of Charleston right now.
Markanek, a few with him, but he dallies on it a little bit. It's taken off his foot. Sample.
Yeah, you just wonder if Markanek could have found Gutierrez a little bit earlier there, charging down the right-hand side, trying to make a run in behind the defense, but
out wide, curled into the box. Tall header by Smith away. Now some green grass to run into. The match stretched a bit. It's Allen. Gutierrez with him, as is Conway. It's Gutierrez. Can he generate an angle for himself? Clips it across, but no one there to attack.
it's great individual play there from Gutierrez. Just needs somebody gambling at the back post. Would have been all alone free just to head this one back into the back of the net, but good footwork. Half a yard of space, whips it to the back post, and it's just there screaming for somebody to tap it in. That's an opportunity wasted there for Charleston. That was the opportunity for the go-ahead goal, and just unfortunately nobody was attacking the space.
Elsewhere, Louisville has a 1-0 lead over North Carolina. A chance for them to extend their lead at the top of the table. Should results hold, would push them 2 points further along. From distance, one of those days where maybe it does take something like that from distance. But that shot from Diego Gutierrez just got under that, put it away.
Gutierrez continuing tonight's theme of 20-yard, 25-yard shots. Has been a consistent theme of attempts on goal tonight. All of those being unsuccessful. A couple of strikes from Torres, one from Griffin, tested the goalkeeper, but the large majority sailed wide and high of the crossbar.
Kept in play by Markanek. Gutierrez, Malloy, now Segbers. Markanek ahead of him. He'll give it to him. Gutierrez was making the run.
Of course, this is the phase of the game where concentration, mentality and fitness comes into play. Many goals often scored in the last 5 minutes of the games when players a little bit more fatigued, they switch off mentally.
Malloy turned it over, but he was immediately back alert to try and keep it alive, but it's still with Pittsburgh. Advantage played. Sample, his shot blocked. Griffin taken off his foot and cleared away. Conway couldn't quite get his head to it. Ooh, just about enough done defensively to see that out.
Kaye just using his body well there to protect the ball from Conway. Dying moments of an evenly contested affair tonight.
That's a handball. It's a free kick to come here. We haven't had a ton of stoppages, so unsure how much stoppage time we will get at the end of this match.
I think if the result stays as it is, touch wood again, Pittsburgh would be the happier of the two teams. You know, having coming off 2 losses, they stop the rot, they pick up a point away from home. Albeit they didn't solve any of their goal scoring woes, but after losing 2 games on the bounce, picking up a point is 1 step forward rather than 2 steps backwards.
Malloy slides it across, clipped over everybody.
Just not on the same page there. Nobody was making the run to where that ball is delivered.
On the Pittsburgh end, it would be a first clean sheet since that win against Miami over a month ago. Those matches including defeat to Tulsa in the Cup, draws with Tulsa and North Carolina in the league, defeats to Memphis and Indy 11.
Of course, a tie tonight for Pittsburgh would make them winless in 5.
Sample. It's brought down at 2. At 2. Now Kaye. Gets onto the end of it, delivers it into the box, and the header just wide. Was that the chance for Kenardo Forbes? Darts in, gets his head to it, but it goes wide.
Heartbreaking opportunity. Great delivery here from Kaye. And the attack, the way Kenardo Forbes just darts in front and attacks this, all the power is on it. Just needs to direct it a meter more to the right on target. And I don't think that's staying out the back of the net. I think Kuzemka would have been picking that one out the back of the net. Great delivery, great run from Forbes. Just unable to guide his head up on target. Another great opportunity there for Pittsburgh to take the lead in the dying moments of the game.
Man, that would have been almost certainly the match winner had that found the back of the net, but the header by Forbes just wide of frame, cushioned down.
And of course, Forbes is a guy who has the quality to convert those. And when things just are not going your way, it can just continue to spiral a little bit.
Just 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of our match, brought to you by MUSC Health. Played forward, Conway on the turn, he's fouled.
Dangerous area here to give away a free kick. I was just about to say, if you're Bob Lilly, you take the point away from home, you bunker down, you leave here with a point. Last thing you want to do is 90 seconds to go in the game.
Here it is. 90 minutes come down to a free kick.
And you have Torres and Malloy over the ball. We spoke about Torres' shot. That thunderous left foot that he has. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to weigh this one up and go for goal direct, or if he tries to whip it into the box. Pittsburgh holding a fairly high line.
On to be Torres. On frame. It's caught.
Straight into the hands of Dick. And if he's smart here, he'll kill every second off the clock that he can.
Moved along. It's Forbes, whose header a few moments ago went just wide. Back to Forbes. His touch a bit heavy. That touch, though, offers it up to Sample. Good recovery. It's moved along. Just seconds to go. Headed down. Clipped across. Headed away. All eyes on the center official. How much more time will we have? Trying to power through. It's dealt with. It's cleared away. And that will see things out with the 0-0 draw. No goals to separate these two sides, and they split the point.
And I think for Pittsburgh, it's definitely a positive. Look, you're sitting in 10th place in the league. You're coming up against a team that's second in the league, and you've proven that you're still able to hang in there, compete, create chances against them. Maybe the league table doesn't reflect how Pittsburgh are performing or the players that they have at this phase of the season. I think there's a lot to build on, a lot of confidence. They have to be able of taking the small wins, and I think there's a couple of small wins that they can have today. They tied a team second in the table. They kept a clean sheet. They got a point. They haven't done that in the past 2 games. So I think there's 3 positive things that Pittsburgh can take away from tonight's game.
Graham Smith, our Heineken man of the match after this one. An Imperious center back's performance sees out the clean sheet for the home side. Maybe frustration for both teams, maybe happiness for both teams. That's what happens when you share the 1 point after a 0-0 draw in the 42nd ever meeting between the Charleston Battery and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It was a contentious, it was a cagey affair. Nothing to separate the two sides in the end. And our full-time score brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. Charleston Battery 0, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 0.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete, you're obsessed, you're in love, you're in pain, spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity, because you made a commitment to yourself and others to work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat, because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health Sports Medicine.
Falls behind.
¿Alguna otra cerveza?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Ok, ahora vuelvo.
Jack Edwards and Chris Nurse here to see this one out with our full-time highlights and stats to round out our broadcast here on ESPN+. We appreciate you tuning in all night long. There were chances for both sides. A first-half shot from distance from Danny Griffin, well parried, probably the best save of the match to push this away by Kuzemka.
Yeah, most of the shots in tonight's game came from long-distance efforts. Both defensive, extremely resolute, good defending. Prevented many penetrating passes. One of the few moments we mentioned, Markanic's name, gets the ball at his feet here, but unfortunately drives it high and wide over the crossbar. But one of the glimpses that we saw, the potential that he has, why he has 12 goals this season.
Indeed, Markanic had a few opportunities throughout the match. That one of the better ones, but again, put it over the frame. Maybe the closest either team came to scoring, and it was an utterly chaotic circumstances. Graham Smith contesting with Eric Dick for that one. It almost creeped across the goal line, just not quite.
Yeah, a little bit chaotic inside the box. Dick doesn't get a good grip on this. Smith does well to put him under pressure, but they managed to clear it away. Scores tied at 0-0.
Neither team able to figure out a way to get that ball all the way across the goal line. Some late chances all the way in the 90th minute. This maybe the best chance proper in terms of a shot. Canardo Forbes just wide of goal.
Great deliverance hits there from Pryor, but Forbes attacks this ball. Pace, power, timing, just unable to guide it on target. And unfortunately, Pittsburgh again leave without scoring.
13-10 in terms of the shots. More possession for the Battery, but no score for either side. Some final thoughts from you, Chris.
I think both teams will be fairly content with how the game finished out. I think for Pittsburgh, as I mentioned, a point away from home. They stopped the rot of conceding 2 games on the floor. 10th position, competing in 2nd position. They proved they can compete with the top teams in the division. I think there's a lot for them to build and a lot of positives to take. They still have the woes of being able to convert chances that they create.
We'll see how that transitions forward for Pittsburgh. Next up for them, they hit the road against Hartford Athletic. For Charleston, a road trip to Detroit City is their match next weekend. It's been a pleasure to share this one with you all night long. We appreciate you tuning in. The two sides meeting for the 42nd ever time, and it finishes in a 0-0 draw between the Charleston Battery and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So for my color commentator, Chris Nurse, and our entire production crew, I'm Jack Edwards saying so long from this one. Final score, Charleston 0, Pittsburgh 0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.